Hi, how's it going? You alright? Special surprise things. It's 9 p.m. Well, about 9:15 p.m. In the UK, and I've got a friend of mine joining me for a bit of a catch up. And his name is Nikesh Shukla, and this is out now. It's his new book. Well, new book, yeah, it is. I suppose it is his new book. Brown Baby. There he is. We'll do some chattings. Where are you? There you go, Nikesh. Let's see if this works. Hello, bruv.
Oh, hi. Oh, hi.
It's like this. Oh, you caught me in a moment. Yeah. I didn't know I'd pressed the button and realised that this was actually on.
But that's what you always do. You always start like this.
Yeah, it's because I'm doing shit. Like, there's no point putting a computer here because I can't do everything at once, right?
I feel like this is very close to my face.
I think it is. You've got quite. You are king face.
I have got a lot of face.
Yeah, man. Big up New Flow, big up Azuru. Thank you everyone for joining us. This is some surprise chattings for me and Nikesh to sort of commune about this wonderful slab of book.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Shall I put this here so it's like a plug?
Yeah, go for it.
It's like a butt plug in mirror.
What is that t-shirt? What is that t-shirt you're wearing?
Actually, dude, that says Yabab. That says now or Yabab. It's like proper brummy. Now oh Yabab. Great.
What is that t-shirt you're wearing?
You know what it is, dude.
No.
Okay, it's Darth Vader in his meditation capsule.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That is cool.
That is cool, and it kind of looks like Batman also.
It could be a Venom and it could be a Batman.
And it could also be like this one prick in India was like, "Oh, you have a DJ on your shirt because you're a DJ." I was like, "Motherfucker, fuck off!" No, it's Darth Vader, you prick. But yeah, there you go.
Darth Vader meditating.
Exactly.
When they went through that period in like the early noughties of t-shirts of Star Wars characters doing random shit like DJing, doing the washing up. I bet you had loads of them.
There's only one in this household, which is Darth Vader DJing, which was a gift to me, and it's used as a sleeping shirt. It's not like something I'd actually go buy.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, I mean, this is the one thing I would go and buy. But also, have you seen Brian De Palma's Phantom of... Fuck, I forgot the name of the title. Phantom of... Not the opera. Phantom of... Brian De Palma. Hang on a second. Phantom of Paradise. There you go.
What's that? Is that a film?
So Phantom of Paradise is a 1974 film by Brian De Palma that stylistically influenced Star Wars. Like, you can look at it and see that's fucking Darth Vader straight away, including the meditation capsule. It influenced Daft Punk and Kiss.
Nice. I need to see this film.
It's amazing. And, you know, De Palma obviously wrote the opening crawl for Star Wars. So, I mean, everyone knows that.
Yeah. Oh, man, I was about to say something that I shouldn't say, but, like, a friend of ours is working on a play about the making of Star Wars. Which,
no!
Yeah. I'll tell you about it offline because I don't think I'm supposed to talk about it publicly. Whoops. This is recorded, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's obviously recorded, but we'll just edit that out. But listen, dude. So congratulations on your book, man. That's why we're doing this. Jack Dings. It's a quick read. I did it in. Well, I haven't finished it all the way, but it's a quick read.
Yeah.
Did you just take all your Observer articles and just put them in a book?
Yeah, and then I sent it to my editor, and I was like, "See you later. I'm done. Money, please." No, it's I don't like that kind of writing that's like intellectual gymnastics. I like stuff that's funny and sad and like I'm beating on the page. But what I'm hoping is when you get to the end, you will appreciate that there are not one but two Marvel Cinematic Universe deep cuts in there.
Oh, really?
Only nerd friends will discover.
I noticed the Thor: The Dark World reference. There's a blatant Thor: The Dark World reference.
No, there's basically I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's basically the end of it is like at the end of a Marvel film.
Okay. All right. Well, look, in this chat, how far spoilers can we go? Should I put up a spoiler warning on the title of this? Like, can we go into this shit? Okay.
Yes, let's go deep, man.
Okay, let me just write in spoilers. in the chat. I can't even fucking spell. Spoilers.
Spoilers for Nikesh's life.
Yeah, yeah.
If you don't want to know about the life that I've led, don't watch this video.
There you go. Spoilers for Nikesh's book. There you go. So there's the one chapter that really, like, talking about comic book references. There's this one chapter where you obviously talk about your family, and the whole book is an ode to your daughter, right? And first of all, you have 2 daughters. Does that mean that your second daughter has to ask you to write her a book as well, or is she going to feel really left out because this book is for her older sister?
I mean, it's sort of for them both. Like I conflated them a little bit. Like doing a book called Brown Baby, being the good immigrant guy, being the guy who's like, you know, people have like sent fucking death threats to my house and like to my inbox and stuff. I just thought, you know what, if I'm going to tell the truth to these 2 beautiful girls, these 2 amazing girls, I need to basically create a character that is both of them. So it's kind of like a conflation, like a purposeful conflation, just to kind of sort of remove some obvious details about them. Yeah,
because you want to keep them anonymous, so you haven't named them and all that kind of stuff as well, obviously. Yeah. And you know, that's their privacy. So you basically created this hybrid of both of them.
I had a 3rd child, basically.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That isn't me, you bastard. Excellent.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, well, it's very hard because you are, in our family, you are disco uncle.
I mean, fuck, I'm everyone's disco uncle. I've been everyone's disco uncle since I was 8. So, I mean, that's pretty fucking appropriate. But there's this one passage where we talk about the mourning of your mother and your daughter's life being timeless. They're like, basically, they're fucking... they are what they're called singularities in time. They're everything at once, right? And reading through this reading through this whole thing in the book, I was like, motherfucker lifted this from Watchmen.
No, he didn't.
You totally did. You totally fucking did. I was like, yo, this is when John, what's his name, is becoming Dr. Manhattan and is remembering the chain of events. They're all happening in different times.
Oh my God, I have completely internalized that without realizing. Yeah,
totally.
Right. Yeah.
I was just like, motherfucker stole this totally from fucking Watchmen.
Yeah, so basically, this book is an ode. This is the real sequel to Watchmen. It's Brown Baby.
Instead of Blue Penis.
Yeah, God, you know what? I completely missed that. Yeah, like that everything is happening. He's experiencing absolutely everything at once. Yeah. God.
Yeah.
But, you know, I couldn't put too many comic book references in there.
Yeah, but do you see, you did that without even fucking realizing.
Yeah, no, that is the real deep cut because, like, when the fans are like, oh, I have just spotted this super intentional Easter egg in episode 6, 50 minutes of WandaVision, and the creators are like, okay, yeah, totally, and he said, yeah, you're right. And
that sounds exactly like Zack Snyder's reasoning for having Martian Manhunter in the new film, saying he was him all along when he wasn't.
I hate that. I'm going to hate watch this.
I'm going to hate it too. It's the most badly thought out thing. But having said that, going back to your book, talking about badly thought out things, there's so many passages in there that like have a chronological kind of ... between them. So there's a lot of abstractions and sort of things you got to fill in the blanks with. But the things that I had problems with is your phonetic Gujarati. It's all over the fucking place. Like what the fuck, like for you? I was like, five conche. It's like, it's for you, dickhead. Like, you know, it's just, you know, there you go. And also, there's this one. Can I ask you a spoilerific question here of something I just don't understand? Like, whoever's teaching you how to make khichdi, right? Like, you're making khichdi in the kitchen, and there's a nani in there, right? And I was like, who is this nani? Because I know your family, I know you. And nani typically means mother's,
younger.
Mother's like mother, right?
It's the nani bar, basically.
Oh, so it's an aunt.
Yeah.
Oh, so if you'd have put nani bar, maybe that would have made sense.
Yeah, well, I wasn't writing the book for you. I was writing it for my kids, and they call it nannies.
Oh, I see. Because I know that we've discussed sort of, you know, writers, or you've actually done this in many sort of like talks where like writers should be unapologetic about the language they use, particularly if it's foreign. Instead of putting it in italics or whatever, it's just like bang, there you go. See, look, Huh. Ishan in the comments is like, Nani's your mother's mom. Exactly. That's exactly what I was getting at. So I know about your family structure, but it's actually your mum's sister, not your mum's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nikesh always thinks this guy is annoying.
I'm not. Vicky, this is one of my best friends, and yes, I do think he's annoying.
He's got no fucking choice. Of course he's annoying.
Yeah, I'm stuck with him. Whatever.
This is it, man. This is fucking it. Totally. Yes, I am annoying. That's entirely the point. That's why we're friends. Yeah, 100%. So there's the Nani thing. There's the Gujarati spellings. And what's this here? Hang on. There's another question I had about this whole sort of the recipes and stuff.
Yeah, I love that you're treating this book like you are a DC fan on Reddit.
I dissected the fuck out of this book. Oh yeah, Sagna's in the comments saying it's Jalebi Gantia, not Gantia and Jalebi. What the fuck? Like,
man.
Yeah, exactly. This is totally the unpicking of Brown Baby. We are going deep into this. And going probably because it's the only book of Nikesh's I've actually read like properly cover to cover, like in 2 days. I've read a lot of them like dipping in and out, but this was something I had to do. It was like a pleasant read, and I think there's so much of it that resonated with me hard. It was really difficult for me to get through. It must have been.
Did you cry now?
No, I didn't cry. I had to sort of like get a lot of my own sort of family dynamics out. Because there's so many triggering sentences. I'm like, you bastard. Fuck.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of it where you come across like a smug, spoiled prick. Where I'm just like, shut the fuck up, Rob.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it. I'm just like, mate, fuck off.
But this is the truth of it, right? This is the truth of writing this stuff. Is like, imagine, like, if I'd positioned myself as like an expert on any of this stuff, it wouldn't have been worth writing. It wouldn't have been worth reading. It's a search for a truth, right? It's a search for like the truth as it relates to me. And like, yeah, there's like a class dynamic that I could have interrogated. There's all that stuff about like how I felt about my parents growing up and how I feel about them now and that being completely different. But the kind of, this is the thing about writing memoirs, you kind of have to put yourself on the page.
Yeah.
You have to put that truth on the page and you have to put that perspective on the page, Like,
100%.
It's a hard thing to do.
I did it really fucking well. I mean, the bits where you get really kind of deep, like particularly about the whole food thing, was amazing. Like, I was completely fucking blown away by that. Because obviously I take the piss out of you constantly. I call you dokla all the fucking time. And it's fascinating because dokla doesn't have sugar in it, so I have no guilt whatsoever of saying that to you. And it's like, there's no sugar in dokla, so fuck you, dokla boy. It's totally fine. But sometimes it's got desiccated coconut on the top, so it's that's that's very good. That's very good. But there's like an element of this, right? And you're right. I'm going into this like a fucking DC fanboy. But the cooking aspect and the food aspect was really, really like deeply personal to you, and you can feel it. You can literally feel everything you're going through. And geez, your partner. Your wife is so fucking patient. It's unreal.
Yeah. Like, what's weird about writing all that stuff was basically, I've been doing a lot of interviews since it came out, and a lot of people keep telling me I've got an eating disorder. And it's like, it's so weird that people feel like an entitlement to what's not on the page, and like, no matter how you and I talk about all this stuff, like, it's so weird to be sitting in interviews and like have done this thing and put a certain amount of information out there, and then people are like making diagnoses about you from what you put on the page, not knowing what's off the page. And like, there's a reason I've left stuff off the page,
Yeah.
That has been a really testing thing the last couple of weeks, is like thinking, well, if I defend myself, that like,
you're validating their reasoning from it, basically.
Yeah, but also like, this isn't the time for me to kind of go, do I have one? Let's look at the facts, It's not worth it for anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think using food to sort of like think about your mother and all of that and your history and where you come from, all that stuff. Um, I don't think it equates to a disorder. I mean, who the fuck am I to say, right? But just knowing you, I don't think that's the case.
Well, no, look, like, as you well know, 2016, 2017, 2018 was incredibly hard. Like, I was promoting The Good Immigrant. I was going up and down the country. I was like going all around the world, like promoting this thing. And it's like, it's a constantly tiring and wearing to be constantly talking about racism. And I was just like, and because I had my kids at home, I would really make the point that, like, if I missed their bedtime, I'd have to be there for when they woke up. So at all hours of the night, I'd be getting home, and I'd spend the evening talking about racism, and then 3 hours after that on a train by myself, just sitting with my own thoughts. And like, you're stressed, you're like anxious, you're like traumatized by the stuff that you've gone through that night, and you end up just like, I end up just turning to like food as comfort.
Yeah,
and that's essentially what I'm writing about. And people are like, "You've got an eating disorder, my friend." It's so strange.
I think it's a little bit
strange thing.
You know, I guess it's like you're doing like for a DJ or a musician, the equivalent is like going to gigs and then sort of relying on like alcohol, perhaps some drugs to sort of get over it. And you're writing about that post come down thing.
Yeah. But the come down was weird because like, so like I'd rock up to Durham with like Coco and Miss L and a couple of the other contributors. We'd do the event. I'd had a couple of drinks and I'd be on the train home, and they would all stay out and party and like have that release.
Yeah.
And I would just be sitting on a train, like watching Jason Statham films, like feeling like there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be more to life than talking about racism professionally, you know?
And you know what, bro? That's the thing. And I know we talk about this on the regs, but it's really fucking funny that, you know, at the same time having to fulfill that gap of talking about racism and talking about all the injustices. And, bruv, you fucking changed the publishing industry. Let's be frank here with Good Immigrant. You know, you do all these things and so that you could write about anything else apart from this, but you can't. You're stuck talking about fucking race.
This is the thing. So Brown Baby, so like my first novel comes out in 2010. Brown Baby was supposed to drop September 2020. And so my feeling with Brown Baby was that is a good 10-year cycle, and I'm done. So like the stuff that, you know, like the stuff.
Like you're Tarantinoing it.
Yeah. Like, you know, I mean, you know, the stuff that I'm working on at the moment, like it's not stuff that is to do with race. I mean, like the way, the lens through which we view that like the characters that I'm working on will view stuff will still be the lens of a brown person or, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing the non-fiction racism thing because it's just not me. There are better people out there. They're like people like Akala and
I was just going to say, yeah.
Akala, Akindi Andrews, like Rennie Edo Lodge, or Angela Saini, all these amazing people doing the good work and being like actual experts in all this stuff. And my plan is to get back to writing funny shit.
Yeah. Because you're fucking great at the funny shit. Hey, Michelle's in the house. Big up, Michelle. Yeah. Michelle.
Michelle, I hope you're writing your novel after this.
We call her Mish Kebabs. Yeah. Lady Mish and the Mish Kebabs. Speaking of which, right, there's this whole thing in the book where we're talking about wait, where was the note that I wrote? I wrote like 3 pages of notes reading this shit. Wait. Oh, yeah. So about when you're talking about finding books for your daughters that see themselves in it. And this, again, is the fucking oxymoron, right? Is that people not doing brown shit in books or in art crucial. You know, when you see someone that happens to be brown, but doing something fucking cool and not talking about where they're from, what curry they munch, and rare, all that kind of shit. It's cool. It progresses things. And for me, Hanif Qureshi's first 2 books did that for me in spades. So the Black Album and British Suburbia were amazing. For that, because it was like sex, drugs, and rock and roll in the characters that I read about that happened to be brown. They were basically atypical brown people, you know, dealing with extremism, dealing with music, dealing with sex, and dealing with interacting with society.
Yeah, there's this amazing quote from Zadie Smith where I think I'm paraphrasing this, but she said, "I want to in my books. I want to take words like black and British and woman and stretch them until I feel comfortable enough to exist in them."
Mm.
And that's kind of what the Buddha of Suburbia was. It was him having, it was him presenting Kareem Amir as, at that time, like a character that none of us had read before, and yet he was having this conversation about what it meant to be British, what it meant to be brown, and all this kind of stuff. And it's so weird that like this was Hanif Qureshi in the 80s writing about the 70s, and we're still kind of having that conversation.
The same fucking thing.
And that was a weird thing about The Good Immigrant, right? Because when it came out, I sent it to Zadie for a cover quote, and she loved the book, but she was like, "Can't believe we're still talking about this stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." And I sent it to Mira Sayal, and I talk about it on the Brown Baby podcast. Like when I
good plug, excellent plugging, fucking expert plugging.
Yeah, thank you.
Shabash.
When I spoke to
my
her
Gujarati brother, very good. We'll find you. Huh.
When I spoke to her and Sanjeev about it, they were like, 20 years ago, we fought all this stuff, so you guys didn't have to. Why are you still fighting all this stuff? And I was like, that's racism.
Yeah, it's the same shit.
Yeah, and it kind of boggles my mind that. So like for me, it has to be like people like me doing stuff like Brown Baby, but also people like, Imran Mahmood, who's writing amazing crime fiction, and A.A. Dand, and like Abir Mukherjee, and all these amazing people doing like Simon Mir. She's got this book out called The Khan that's coming out in a couple of months. It's basically like The Godfather set in Bradford. It's so sick. But that that's what you need. Like you need that difference of like what people are doing. So like like obviously. Racism is still here. So like we still need people to write about it and interrogate it and push back against it. But we also need people writing wonderful, amazing, romantic novels about stuff. And we need people writing crime, and we need people writing poetry about mental health. And like, that for me is what we need. We don't just and that's why I got to that end of that 10-year cycle with Brown Baby. And I was like, I'm done now. I'm going to go back to writing comedy. Like that's what I want to do, and so that's what I'm doing at the moment. And that for me is like the best time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. You've had to. I think it's tricky because I've known you for years. Obviously, going back to your music days and your hip hop days and your folk days, evidently, because I keep banging on about that, and I really think you should revive that album. I think you're a fucking fool for not reviving it. It's amazing, but. I mean,
nearly 20 years this friendship, man. Nearly 20 years.
Fuck, that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, exactly that. Like, we know the ebbs and flows of each other's lives. We know what everyone's accomplished, and it's great to see your final release. But it's difficult when you're thrust in a position to represent a whole fucking generation and a race, and you're like, "Yo, what the fuck." Yeah, Rosie in the comments is talking about the folk album. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Oh, Rosie. Hey, Rosie. Rosie, you've just joined. I can't wait for Rosie. You still haven't DM'd me about the WandaVision spoilers. Just letting you know.
Yes.
That's that Rosie. That's that Rosie.
That Zoom that we were on. Yes.
Rosie, aka the best writer about comic books that ever lived.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, I can't represent everyone, and I don't. And that was the kind of the weird thing about The Good Immigrant, right? Was because like some of the pushback we got was, oh, you haven't represented this community, and you haven't represented this. Like people were treating it like an equality monitoring form that you get at the end of like a funding application.
Wait. Has anyone that said something racist had to come to you to apologize? As a figurehead of all the darkies in the world, they should come to Nikesh Shukla to show their apologies.
Oh man, like in the last 6 months, the weird random apology emails I've got from people has been overwhelming.
You're kidding? Is that real?
Yeah,
I literally just made that shit up as a joke. And
no. But what do you do with them? Do you go, well done for deciding to be less racist, or do you just ignore it, or do you go, thank you, but this is not I just so many of them I didn't reply to them because I was like, what do I do with this information? I'm glad you have taken this time out, but like, actually 4 years ago when X happened or when Y happened, that destroyed me, you know? Like, your sort of contrite email now, it, you know, I'm glad you are where you're at, but I'm not where I could be. You know?
Is that from people that have attacked you in the past or done shit to other brown people?
I think it...
Or other immigrants generally?
Where it came, a lot of those emails were basically from people who didn't realise that they weren't as liberal as they thought.
Okay.
People who were like accidentally or subconsciously or unconsciously perpetuating racism within various industries. One of them was actually an apology for, like, I'm going to tread carefully about this because I can't leak it, but like, it was from someone who runs an incredibly important cultural institution about a panel that she curated, she put me on, and then threw me to the wolves. It was beautifully horrible.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the Radio 4 furore like last week as well about literally a similar sort of thing where you invite someone to expand minds and then attack them.
This is the BBC Women's Hour thing. So, two amazing writers, Mariam Khan and Yasmin Majid, put together an open letter to the BBC about this very thing that I was very, very happy to be one of the signatories on, where they were just asking the BBC to do better about Muslim representation. And like, that interview was excruciating to watch. You know? And
I thought it was audio. I thought it was on Radio 4.
I mean, like, when they put it on Twitter, they put a video, a short clip of it. But yeah, it was like really horrible line of questioning from someone who didn't know what they were talking about. But anyway, don't listen to me. Go to like The Guardian, or actually go to Galdem. The Galdem website has the full letter with the full list of signatories on it, and you can read all about it, and you can read all about why that poor, amazing person shouldn't have been interrogated in the way that she was.
So I mean, like, that's the thing. Like I was getting to earlier, it's quite a thing to be suddenly have to like realize that just through your work you're essentially a fucking activist. It's fucking exhausting. And for me personally, I just retreated from all of it. I'm just like, I'm not going to represent any of those isms, or, well, not isms. I'm not going to be like, I just didn't want to play that game about the British Asian game or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm not engaging. I'm going to do what I do and fuck all of that. I don't know how you've done it, quite frankly.
Well, I did it for a while, and then like, you do it a few too many times, and then you find your tweets being taken out of context and put in the Telegraph, and people descending on your timeline to call you all manner of things. And that just happened one too many times to me last year, and I just had enough. And so I've kind of like, I've been a lot quieter on social media, like, because the other thing is like, you get that, and then you also get the weird people who kind of, instead of spending their time doing the work, they spend their time going through your timeline, your social media timeline, so they can DM you and tell you all the things that you haven't spoken about. And I'm like, look, you could have used that time to talk about other stuff. Also, just because I haven't put on Twitter you don't know what I'm doing behind the scenes. Like, I'm a youth worker. Like, I'm on the ground. I'm doing work on the ground, which isn't stuff that I would put on social media.
And so, like, and then it becomes fucking performative if you do, and you don't want to talk about all the other shit you do. 100%, and then you get called out for the shit that you're not perceived to be doing, right?
And yet, like, there was someone who DM'd me, and they were like, "You have not spoken about this," and I was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. It's the weekend. I've been spending time with my children," and they're like, "People are dying," and I'm like, yeah, okay, but I don't think my Twitter timeline is going to affect that. But also, yes, I know this is a serious issue, but I'm like, it's the weekend, I'm spending time with my kids. They got really irate with me, and I was like, but I've retweeted a bunch of stuff, and they said, but you haven't spoken about it. And I was like, but I've retweeted people who know what they're talking about, and signal boosted what they're talking about to my platform. and they were still like, but you haven't commented. I was like,
There's
done.
not much else I can do.
No, yeah, I'm going to go back to play. I'm going to go back to playing Lego with my kids, because that is a world I understand.
And you know what? That's the other thing, is that how much trauma can you also perpetuate, right? So I was talking, in fact, big up Raphael in the comments. Raphael from Sri Lanka, big up. He says, "It's Harrod, me too, bruv." But it's just, we were talking about sort of
big up Sana Khan from Four Brown Girls Who Write, one of my favourite poetry collectives.
Oh yes, big up. I love those people. Excellent. Yeah, the stuff I actually came across them when Nadine was part of their crew, right? Is that the same people?
No.
No? Didn't they do a thing together at an event?
I think they did an event together, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Anyway, yeah. Excellent. And what was I saying? And Raf on this pointed out about kind of performative, like backing causes for performance sake, which was because it's in Sri Lanka, and apparently a police captain or someone really high up in the police had their title overturned because they are a woman, and in the constitution the word woman isn't explicitly stated. It's like rago sexism.
Jesus.
And a lot of sort of expats and people that live in Sri Lanka that have sort of organizations that are all about women's equality have refused to say anything, which is just, it says everything, really.
Yeah, God.
But exactly that. But yeah, going back to your book, so you think you're done? Have you got all this shit out in the basement? You know, like Rocky in Rocky Balboa, when he fights and he's like, I've got some more stuff in the basement to get out. Is this it?
Yeah, no, I've just signed up to do a new YA book, which is going to be a comedy, which is really cool.
I bet brown shit comes into it though. This is something that you can't help yourself to talk about. There's going to be some shit in there about being brown.
Right. Challenge accepted, Nirmesh.
Nirmesh bastard.
Yeah, I'm doing a couple of screenwriting projects, and we'll just see how they go. It's that weird and wonderful thing of TV. It's like, you spend ages working on a bunch of things, and then if one of them goes, you literally have to drop everything to work on it. And I hope to have one of those one day.
I mean, let's just think about the TV stuff you have done. It's all been invariably brown.
Well, I mean, I've done two things. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, the new YA, because you did Run Riot and The Boxer, which were obviously for young adults, for people that may not know what YA is. But what's the next one about then, like specifically? Can you go into detail or not?
All I'll say is it is about a young stand-up comedian who is trying to find her voice.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess your experience of being a rapper kind of feeds directly into that.
I am just endlessly fascinated by stand-up comedians and what it takes to be a stand-up comedian, where you essentially mine the tragedy of your life for laughs. I think there's something just really fascinating about how you can how your brain works in that way, and especially if you're a teenage stand-up comedian. So working on that. Yeah, that's the only thing I can't. Yeah, I'm at that stage where I literally can't talk about some of the stuff that I'm working on.
That's fine. I won't ask you about that. Well, Vicky in the comments is asking where you get your clothes from. And I think they're being real. They're saying you always wear cool clothes.
I do always wear cool clothes now. And very rarely these days are they related to Star Wars.
Or Spider-Man.
Or Spider-Man. I don't know. My wife got me this jumper 10 years ago, and it's one of the few things that still fits me in this lockdown.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, look, there's a couple of things about your book. Can I ask you a couple of questions about it?
You may. Yes,
okay.
you may.
So there's can you see all the flags, by the way? Look, I flagged it. Yeah.
Well, do you know what I was just thinking is really funny is if people coming to this not knowing that we're friends are probably going to be like, that Nerm guy is.
He's a bit.
Why,
He went.
why is he so rude? And to them, I would just like to say, yes, he is. But that is 90% of why I love him.
And as we said, we go back for nearly 20 years, so I can be this rude. It's totally fine. Yeah. Like, it's just okay. So the one thing I've got highlighted here, right, is that when you went for a drink with your mates, right, and you started talking about like your baby sleeping, and you're like, "Fuck this, I want to go home," right?
Yeah.
And you're in Paddington getting the train. Where the fuck do you get tacos from late night in Paddington?
Oh, mate, you don't know about it.
No. Is this some secret Gujarati taco truck that you found?
No, there's a taco place very prominently in Paddington Station. You've probably not been.
Really?
You've probably not been to Paddington Station.
In years, you're right. The last time I was there was after a gig in fucking Reading when I was DJing in 2012. So
yeah, things
have changed. Oh, Vicky's saying that's really cute. We're just protecting you. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah,
that's very sweet.
I'll tell you what, Vicky, for all his bluster, whenever things are going badly for me, Nerm is the first person on the phone to me, and that is why I love this guy.
And fuck off. So the other thing is, right? Another thing, talking about an fuck off, right? Who is this producer that called you a patronising cunt on Twitter from Bristol?
Oh, this is very public. I'm happy to talk about this. This is Jeff Barrow from Portishead.
Yes, yes, Jeff Barrow called you a cunt. Wicked.
It's because, like, when I was writing the Guardian articles, because a lot of them were about home and about like trying to make a new home in a new city. And my wife had
look at the glee on my face about this. This is fucking wicked.
And one day my wife had just said to me, like, God, you're so miserable about Bristol. And I was like, no, but it's part of the narrative that I'm trying to. And she was like, but you're miserable about living in Bristol. So I was like, okay. And I wrote a column the next week. The column was like 10 reasons I really love living in Bristol. And it got like retweeted a bunch of times, and a bunch of people who are Bristol old guard were like, typical Londoner moving to Bristol and then like talking about how nice it is. And Jeff Barrow was one of those people, and he called me a cunt. And I said, that's a bit much. And he was like, yeah, it is.
But it's true. Hey, big up. Anushka's in the house. Way fam jams. Wicked.
Anushka.
And, okay, so there's another... Actually, she's got a quote in the book too.
Hello, Sugna.
Sugna's been here the entire time.
I know, but she's waving like, I'm here too.
She's waving at Anushka, you dickhead, not you.
I think she's waving at you, saying...
Stop being... Oh, so here's the other thing, right? So when you're out on your night walks with your daughter... No, don't behave, Anushka. Be rude. I'm drunk. He's a bit tipsy, so whatever. So... You end up walking around the corner and seeing a bunch of people hugging, right? These ravers hugging and stuff. And they're doing this kind of thing. And you're saying, and this was like ridiculously racist. Hey, Rena's here. Big up, Rena. Saying that, I remark, as the sun glints off their collective blonde hair, I remark in my brain that you'd never see Asians doing this. Bruv, fuck off. I've seen you in a puddle of Asians hugging at that time in the morning in the middle of fucking London after a gig.
In Bristol.
In London. But I've seen you do that.
No, but this is very specific to Bristol.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm just like, mate, come on. You've blatantly been in the middle of a cuddle puddle for the brown people. You've been piled on by a bunch of our mates.
Yeah, I have been
several times.
I have been bundled outside the Vibe Bar.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's what I was just like, mate, fuck off. That's just complete, like, dramatic effect nonsense. And that's it, actually.
I think my favourite one of those was our friend Kunal and I, in our mid-20s. We were trying to recreate the Reservoir Dogs shot of Mr. White and Mr. Pink. Mr. White standing over...
I just want to clarify. Kunal and Nikesh together look like Lauren and Hardy. Just fucking say it. So yeah, go on. Reservoir Dogs / Lauren and
we were
Hardy.
trying to recreate, you know, the famous shot of Mr. White, of Harvey Keitel standing over Steve Buscemi, and they're both pointing guns at each other. We were trying to recreate that because it was the early noughties and we were nerds. And that's when you ran out of the Vibe Bar and jumped on us, and a pylon happened outside Vibe Bar. I think that was the thing was, like, the photo, we managed to get the photo of us reenacting Reservoir Dogs, but we didn't get the bundle because the person who was taking the photo immediately then joined in the bundle.
It's about, you know what? Actually, there is one thing, right? I found something called Superheroic Poetry, which is a song you wrote as Yamboy.
Yeah.
Many, many, many years ago. Okay, when it was your rapper days, right? So Yamboy and Gundaraj. But where did Yamboy come from? Because you're not from Birmingham.
Yeah.
And there's a typical Birmingham reference there, which is like yam yam, like yam doing, yeah, right. No, that's Birmingham, yeah. So where did that come from?
I used to live above a place called Kashmiri Yamboys in Brixton, and I was just coming home one night thinking about needing a stage name or needing something, and I just saw it, and it was just like the light was just shining in the right way on Yamboys, and I tried it, and it didn't quite work. It didn't quite work. I remember walking around like not long after deciding that, and just guys shouting, "Yamboy! Why Yamboy? Stupid fucking name!" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna stick."
I think it's perfect. It worked. It's kind of got this superhero edge or superhero psychic edge. Big up Sanj in the comments and big up the Dudley crew. Yes, indeed, man. So look, how's everything been going since Brown Baby came out? You've done all these interviews. You've done all the promo and shit. Like, how's sales? How are you feeling about it? Is it like a merciful release? Is it like you've been blocked up and finally it has come out, or is there like is there more visitations to make and more release to do to push it?
No, it's come out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unblocked, and I'm just telling everyone about it. I'm telling everyone about what a wonderful release it was.
Yeah.
No, like I'm doing loads of press this week and next week, and then I think it dies down a bit, and then I get back to like just writing, which is the thing that I'm best at.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't really like doing press stuff. You know, I'm pretty boring. I've got nothing to say about myself. So I look forward to basically having these conversations with you, but like not with everyone else watching. Because,
yeah. Because we can do it in the real life and talk proper.
Yeah, and then we can gossip about people and
and share spoilers on shit and like imagine what's happening on WandaVision and Mandalorian season 3 and all sorts.
So apparently Reed Richards is going to appear in either this week or next week.
Is he the aeronautical engineer that they're talking about?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm excited to see.
You've got to be careful what you say, because there might be like I don't know where your information's from, but we all know that we have friends of friends and friends that are in places.
No, this is. I spent a bit of time on Reddit today.
Oh, okay. So it's just internet stuff.
Yeah, and also
look at Sanj in the comments like, bruv, shut the fuck up, man. Spoilers.
Yeah, all right.
By the way, just to clarify to anyone that thinks that we have any inside information, Riz is a dear friend of ours, and he's been in several films, and he says nothing to us. Like, Nikesh and I have our own chat about how little Nikesh, any of our friends tell us about anything that they're in.
It's bullshit, mate. It's absolute bullshit.
Like, fucking Nitin Sawhney's best mate is Andy Serkis. He's directing Venom 2. Nothing. He's also in fucking Batman as Alfred, right? Like, Andy Serkis is the new Alfred. And I'm like, any info on the download? Yeah, nothing.
Hold on. Are we just name dropping now?
No, we're just saying how shit we are at getting spoilers from anything that we know about.
You know, like, I'm really good friends with the person who's been show running Miss Marvel, and every day I wake up and one of my first thoughts is, can I convince her to send me a text, send me a photo of what the costume looks like? Don't
lie. You just said, can I convince her to send me a text? Fuck you. She doesn't like you. She's not going to text you. Bitch is like, no, I'm not going to reply to Nikesh. Fuck off. He's not getting a text from me.
Bish's old phone is like, haha, new number.
Can I convince her to send me a text? Like, you got rumbled hard, bro. Just
yeah. Bishop, if you're watching this, please reply to my text.
yeah, man. That's. I mean, that is actually quite exciting. Having someone brown doing a brown fucking, TV show in a Marvel universe is awesome.
Oh, look, it's Vinny who unfollowed me on Instagram. I can't believe I'm bringing that up.
I love the fact that 40-something people in this day and age are upset about Instagram and follows. What the fuck?
I miss him. And he was just like, I don't care about you. I'll just unfollow you.
Well, big up, Vinny. What's his question? Who's got the smaller knob? I mean, obviously, all of us, we're Indian. There is that. Actually, there's a passage in your book that talks about the whole Goldilocks thing, which just knocked me sideways.
Yeah, that was mad. When I read that, I was like, that is nuts.
That is proper nuts.
So for people who are watching, it's like a friend. Life didn't change. Oh, Vinny.
Vinny, so salty, bastard. Have a drink, shut the fuck up, be happy. What the hell? Yeah. So go on, continue what you were saying.
There was this thing that someone sent me that was like, in popular culture, there is this theory that like if in popular culture like the object of desire of all men is like the busty blonde haired woman, then like what popular culture does is it presents like the Asian male, like the Southeast Asian or South Asian male, as like sexually repressed with a small penis, and it presents the black male as sexually aggressive with a large penis, which means that the white male is just right, and that's how most popular culture operates. And when I read that, I was like, oh my god, this just blew my fucking mind.
It's a hell of an analogy. Yeah. There's so many moments of beauty in this book that I knew it would fuck me up, and I was reading it and I couldn't sleep because there's so many issues of family interaction and sort of projection throughout it that obviously I disagree with some of it. Obviously our experiences have like a potential class difference and all sorts of things, but there's so much reality in it. And there's this thing about functioning for work as like our fathers, obviously my dad worked his ass off to provide, and there was a sort of realization, well actually so did my mom, but more so because she worked she helped my dad out in his business, worked a job, and fed us all, and fucking had to do all the housework. So it was like 3 full-time jobs, all of which sort of took away from, for me anyway, any kind of, what you'd imagine as parental interaction.
Yeah.
And all of that shit was super hard to read because it's stuff that I'm just like, whatever about, But like I said before, it must have been like really hard to write. Have you had any sort of like rebounds about that from your family? Like, Nikesh, what the fuck are you writing about us for?
No, because I don't imagine any of them will read it. Like, they know that it's pretty raw about my grief about my mum. So I think a lot of them are like, it's okay. But like so much of that stuff is just me trying to, as a father, trying to understand the role of the father and thinking about my father and how I thought about him when I was growing up versus how I think about him now, which are two very, very different things. Because like when I thought about him as a teenager, I was a selfish prick, and now I'm like a more self-aware selfish prick,
Yeah.
And so it's just like all of that stuff is.
I own my selfishness. Yes.
Yeah. I like, it's just a lot of that is just me kind of trying to work all that shit out, Yeah.
And it's done really beautifully, I think, on the whole. And it's like it's got a severe amount of impact, and the whole it sparked debate, which I guess is the whole point of a lot of things, like discussions about is it an Eastern or Western thing about letting your child be passed around families, for example. And my argument would be, well, actually, a lot of that justification for behavior can hide nefarious shit.
Yeah.
And you've kind of just literally just gone, no, that's rape language. I'm like, wow, that's like a real hard line you've drawn there, like a hard parallel, which is brave as fuck,
Yeah, like that. All that stuff is like was really hard because like a lot of it is just me kind of going, look, I get stuff wrong all the time, and actually so much of like our online selves, we kind of bristle at the thought of being uncomfortable about anything and getting stuff wrong, and actually it's totally fine to be uncomfortable. Like, get something wrong, feel uncomfortable, work out what happened, try and do better. That's just life, right?
Yeah.
Or if you really truly believe it, double down and like sell your story to the Daily Mail for millions of pounds. That's like,
I mean, there is that too. But I think in this case, if it's about anyone that knows you, about like maybe 150 quid. I've tried; it's not really worth it. But like, you know, I think you're totally right. But I think more than anything, it's about that kind of fear of admitting you're wrong if you're a dude. Do you know what I mean? Or being called out for being wrong. Yeah. And that's like a full-on sort of elder uncle kind of situation where you can't be. Your authority then is compromised, and your sort of infallibility is therefore compromised by being challenged. You know.
Yeah, there have been times in my life where I've been called out for getting something wrong, and actually my immediate reaction has been like, "Fuck you! How dare you!" And that's the point at which you have to go, "Come on,
yeah,
think about it."
Yeah, good. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about before I go piss?
No, I don't want to hold you.
You want to hold me. You want to hold me while I go wee wee. I know secretly you do. I know.
I'm going to go and get some wine.
Okay.
It's been fun.
It has been fun.
I'll probably call you on WhatsApp right after this.
Yeah, exactly. While we're on the toilet together. But everyone should read this book. I wish this had come out 10 years earlier. Well, maybe 15 years earlier. No, hang on. I'm old. 25 years ago. That'd be amazing. Like, I wish I'd read this book and could have like had it earlier. It's fucking great. So well done, bro.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me.
It's all right. Well, thanks for holding me, especially while I wee. Okay.
Maila.
Bye. Maila. Audio. Okay, audio. Bye.
Bye.
Audio.